welcome back to another edition of Toy Talk and Stuff with your host, GL1. Today, we have some great new additions, and we have some special events going on. First, I'd like to start with birthdays. Oh, no, I'm sorry. I'd like to start with our special guest. Our special guest is Wanda Spider over here from Monster High. How you doing, Wanda? Nothing. But what's great about Wanda is, what I really like about her is that she has 6 arms and 2 legs, which is 8, which is what spiders have. And she has multiple eyes. She has 4 extra eyes, so she has 6 eyes altogether. And that's my dog. And she has little bracelets and things. And she's what's really great about, if you don't mind, Wanda, Monster High toys is that they are very well articulated. Okay, so I'm going to try to be careful with my hands because last time I didn't realize that my massive muscular hands got in the way of a lot of the things I was showing you. So I'm going to try to be more conscious of my thick fingers. So anyway, so the wrists move and they twist and the elbows bend and you know, you have shoulders, and each one has its own shoulder and wrist and everything. It's just awesome. And the head can move in all directions. It's a little squishy, which is nice. And, you know, all of the Monster High dolls have such great articulation and great outfits, and you can change their outfits. They're pretty easy to change. And you can even take them apart and change the dolls if you want, change the way they look. And I've done that. She has on her boots, and they have... I'm usually not into fashion or shoes or anything like that. I mean, I dress like this. But she has spurs, little rolling spurs in the back of her boots. It's so cool. So I never thought that I would buy Monster High dolls. But, you know, every time I walk by the display, I was like, man, those things look cool. And I'm like, well, you know, why get into another category? And I'm like, oh man, those things look cool. And then finally I said, you know what? There was a period with toys, like 2 years, with everything was terrible. And I was like, you know what? I'm gonna get a Monster High doll, and I'm gonna see. And if I like it, okay, let's see. So I bought a couple of them, and I was just really impressed with how everything that they do, their articulation, and you know how well made. And they were on clearance because this was towards the end of their lifespan. You know, the toy lasted like 7 years, and I like them. So now I have a lot of them, and we will be going through that. And I also have all of their Mega Block sets, which I constructed into something really, really unique, and I can't wait to show you that eventually. It took a lot of work, a lot of thought, a lot of planning, and it came out really great. Also today, I don't want to you know, take too long to tell you that we have some birthdays today. Today is 2013 Metroplex's birthday. And the reason we always specify 2013 is there is another Metroplex. I think it's 2005, and I have that too. It's also 1998 Big Gorn, and 1970s Tomy Robot, and Monster High Magic Skull. So to get a little bit of the feelings on how everybody feels about that, I have Vince McMahon with his little mic, and we're going to ask Metroplex, anything you want for your birthday? It sounds like what he wants is some sort of transformation. Is that what you're saying, Metroplex? So, as frequently as with Metroplex, our buddy here, what he wants for his birthday is to commence deactivating Decepticons. And deactivating Decepticons doesn't mean the push of a button. It means the push of one of his buttons, and a missile will fire, and that will deactivate a bunch of Decepticons. Next, thank you, happy birthday again. And 1999 Big Gorn. Big Gorn is 12 inches tall, and is from the original Star Trek. Captain Kirk and Gorn were kind of marooned on a planet to face off against each other. And the Gorn was much stronger than Kirk, but there were resources left on the planet for Kirk to go up against the Gorn and see if he could figure it out. And actually, then after that, the Federation was able to have sort of a detente and, you know, you don't bother me, I won't bother you relationship with the Gorn. And the Gorn, that Star Trek was probably, episodes probably around 1967. So this is a great toy. And happy birthday to you, Gorn. And let's see. Also, we have the 1970s Tomy Robot. Maybe some of you remember that. Tomy Robot, anything to say? And it just has a wind-up sound. And I don't know if any of you ever had a Tomy Robot. The hands, or little robot arms, they twist. And you wind them up here, and this was probably like $1. And he's, there you go. He kind of walks. I mean, you know, it's old. And this, you know, these springs don't, you know, they lose their strength after a while. But anyway, it's just great to have on the shelf. And the Monster High Skull Magic 8-Ball. And if you're not familiar with the Magic 8-Ball, it was a craze where you would ask a question and you would shake this 8-ball and it had a little dice inside and it would sort of predict, you know, you'd ask it like, you know, am I going to pass the test tomorrow? And you would shake it and it would say something like, not likely, or something like that. So this is a similar idea. And let's see, we're going to ask a question, and we're going to say, Magic 8-Ball, Monster High Skull, are we going to do more shows? And it says definitely. So that's what we get for that. So that is from, I don't know what year it was from. Okay. So today's featured toy is Optimus Primal. You know, all our friends here are going to talk about Optimus Primal with us. And we have a new addition to our regular cast. We have Speed Racer. We have 2008 Speed Racer movie that was directed and produced by the Wachowskis. And it came out with a really great line of toys. This is one of them. This is probably like the premiere. And Speed Racer? And do you have any excited about the Optimus Primal toys today? Come on, let's race! Okay, well, you can race some of them because one of them actually has a flying skateboard. So you could race against him. And Vader, do you have anything to say about, you know, our feature today? Okay, if I do join you on the dark side, are you going to be happy about celebrating, you know, or just, you know, the birthdays? Are you going to, you know, be interested in our featured product? Any thoughts on that? They're not rebels, and they're not, you know, they're actually, some of the other Transformers might be rebels, but this is actually one of the main guys, Optimus Prime. He's not a rebel. Maybe Yoda, you can clear this up for us.
Always with you, you do nothing that I say.
I heard some of what you said. You're a little muffled, you know, like sometimes when you say stuff, let's try again, say something. Okay, we're going to all feel the Force flow. Optimus Prime, not to be confused with Primal, are you excited about meeting one of your cousins, Optimus Primal?
Autobot, transform and roll out.
Are you jealous? Is it just you just want to leave? You know, you just hear that another Optimus Primal, you know, another Optimus is coming to town, and you just want to roll out. That's your solution. you know, you and your issues, Optimus. And Terminator, what do you have to say?
I'll be back.
Okay, all right. Well, you know you're not going anywhere, and so there's no reason to come back. You're still here. Hulk, how you been? What do you think about our featured Optimus Primal? Okay, Hydra's puny, but these are not Hydra. But they are a lot smaller than you. That's true. You're not smashing my toys, okay? No, you're just gonna stay there with Robbie the robot. Robbie?
Welcome to Altair 4, gentlemen.
He
I am to transport you to the residence.
he thinks we're on Altair 4. You know, he doesn't know that this is Earth, but he's stuck on Altair 4. But you know what? It's all the same. It's, you know, whatever he says. And before I ask our Godzilla puppet, I gotta ask Goldberg, what do you think about Optimus Prime? He just won't answer anything without his entrance music. He just needs to let you know Goldberg is here. He's here. And it's like the Russian national anthem, isn't it? It's all the pomp and circumstance, very powerful music. And maybe you will grace us with some kind of wisdom or something about Optimus Primal. Goldberg, what do you think?
I'm Goldberg. Who's next?
Well, Optimus Primal's.
Sting ya. Sting, get ready for the jackhammer. I'll break you with my back. Goldberg. I'll spear ya. Sting. Goldberg. I'll beat you with my scorpion death drop.
They're caught in their own world. And it seems every time they have no interest in what's happening here. But you know, I do like having you around, so I'm going to let you stay. And 1998 Godzilla puppet, are you excited?
I'll spear ya next time.
And
I'll never give up.
okay, you know, you were interrupted. Do you think, is there any of these Optimus Primals that are your favorite? Okay, all right. Well, you let me know when we get there, and we shall. And Iris, our yoga Barbie, we haven't forgotten about you. We are going to take a yoga break. This is Iris, our yoga Barbie, and what's great about the yoga Barbie, there's a whole line of yoga Barbies, okay, and I have like 5 of them, but not all of them will talk to you. The other ones they're silent, but she has great articulation. She has the double knee joint. She has ankles that move. She doesn't have the double elbows, but she does have articulation in her elbow and her shoulder and her wrist. And no waist turning. Oh boy, there. That's always with the fluffy clouds. Okay, breathe in and out. Okay, all right. She wants to take a yoga break now. It's fine. Okay. Everybody, you're doing it together with Yoga Barbie. All right. Feel better? All right. So, thank you, Yoga Barbie. All right. So, Optimus Primal. In 1996, they started out with a digital cartoon, Beast Wars. And I really wasn't a Transformer collector before this. I did have the 1980s Optimus Prime and a Megatron and a Grimlock. That's it. And I really didn't like them that much because they didn't have a lot of articulation. Although the Optimus is pretty good. But in 1996, with Beast Wars, I loved the story. I loved the cartoon. And I went out and I bought Optimus Primal and the T-Rex Megatron, which we'll show also. We'll be getting to that one day. And I was so impressed with them. I just had never seen a toy like this that I actually called up Hasbro customer service and I spoke to someone and I told them what a great toy that it is. And they were like, okay, thanks. So, but I just had never seen anything like it. And this is from 1996. This is Optimus Primal. This is in his robot mode. Okay, and he has a lever in the back where he can move his arms like that, and then he has these little switches here. Not always it. And you click them up. And click, and then you move it, and they go that way. It's just ingenious. This is his warrior head when he's in some kind of angry mode. Now, this was not on the cartoon, and a lot of people didn't like this about the action figure, that the cartoon did not have this extra face mask. What you could do is you could spin it around to the back and then turn the head. Now, I don't want to make this into a show where we do a lot of transforming because it takes a lot of, it takes time and everything. But this one's worth it, and you'll see why. Okay, so that's your Optimus head. Now, that is pretty much a standard robot Optimus head, correct? It looks a lot like you over there, right, Optimus?
I want you to make a special run to Autobot City.
Okay, well, I will make that special run to Autobot City after we do the show. So this head also was not really in the show. It wasn't in the cartoon, so people were disappointed with that too. But it also featured this, two missiles that fly out here, and then you have buttons and they'll shoot off. They're spring-loaded. And it has, in its forearm, it has a forearm. It opens up and it has a couple of guns with forearms, and you can put these missiles. There's a little storage back in here for a couple of rockets. And I painted the tip silver back then. And you can put those in, and I'll show you that. You'll see in another minute or so. And then the other hand, it opens up, and it has a skull mace, okay? And it has a little bit of hydraulic action with the feet, and this is the gorilla head. You flip that around, and then you see that's going to be his gorilla head, and you can flip everything around and turn things around and make him look basically like a gorilla. So that's the first edition of the Optimus Primal, and I just thought it was fantastic. All the articulation, the forearms, the way things move, the switches. I've never seen anything like that. But then later, because people were disappointed in the fact that it didn't really look like the one in the cartoon, they reissued another one, and I've written down over here, to keep everything keep track of it. So that was 96. So 8 years later, in 2004, they reissued basically the same figure. Now, I looked at the date that's embossed in the plastic, and it says 1996. So they really just kept everything they could the same. They didn't change the embossing. But you see, this is the mace. You see his color is brown. So that's more closely related to some of the, yeah, I guess he was more of a brown than a black. But the head is like it was in the cartoon. Okay, so it has all the same features, brown, and some of the colors are a little bit probably more accurate, to a gorilla being brown, and then the head more accurate. It does not have that angry, like dragon-like face shield. And then throughout the cartoon, there were various things that happened where Optimus Primal was modified, and he became what's called a transmetal. He became more powerful, and this is Optimus Primal as a transmetal. You can turn these, and they link together, and it becomes like a flying skateboard. He's got like this back portion can move up in front and snap in front of him. It becomes like a shield, and then these come off, and they become like guns. This is, a little gun, fires the guns, or it's a mace. And he has, when he's in gorilla form, he's got this shiny metal chest, and the head's hidden inside the chest. And again, like, I'm not going to transform everything. This is the form that I like to see him in most of the time, so I just keep him like that. You can always go online and look up. The year he came out was 1998, Transmetal Optimus Primal, and you'll be able to see the iterations of that. They did just they just reissued a new version of this. From what I read on the reviews, it's larger, it articulates better. The people really like that there's more blue chrome on it. It's $180. I'm not going to buy that for $180. But you know, people liked it. So if you like the Transmetal, then knock yourself out. Then there was another one that they reissued. This is just a Gorilla Bot, and this was 2006, and it really wasn't in the cartoon. But that's an Optimus Primal, and he turns into a robot mode. But this is when he's on his like flying hoverboard, and it has a cyber key. And when you put the cyber key in, there's like an extra little like skateboardy thing that flies out, I guess for balance. And it also has a missile on the skateboard. And this is a really cool transformer. It transforms well, looks good in robot mode, looks good in gorilla mode, nice and tight joints, so I like that one. Well, they weren't done making Optimus Primal. So before I show you the creme de la creme Optimus Primals, I'm going to show you what they've done since. So this is 2020 Optimus Primal. And he comes with swords, and they snap onto the back, or they peg in, and you can put it in his hands. He's got he's got some fingers that move. Okay, he's got the little guns that pop up out of the forearms, and you can put him in gorilla mode, and he'll look quite a bit like a gorilla. He's got the little shoulder missiles. Now nothing fires off of him, but he's got good head articulation in all directions. He's got the double knees. He's got the hydraulics in the toes. He's got even a little bend. You can bend his heel to move him around. Excellent elbow articulation and shoulder all around. So just a great figure. This was about $30, and it came out 2020. I did not paint the swords on that. They came that way for this one. Then they came out with what's called the Red series, RED, series of Transformers that they do transform to a limited extent. So this one, they don't transform in the same way. So they'll transform like you can change your hands, you can change your weapons. This one, again, has the shoulder guns. It's a little bit larger, see? And it's hefty. It's a softer, kind of more hefty plastic. It has the double knees, and it has actually some ratcheting, clicking action. And it has the swords with them now. They're really hard to get into the hands. And so, if you remember from the last episode, I said you can boil plastic. So I put them in really hot water, and then I could fit the swords in, and then the plastic hardens up again, and it kind of seals itself around the sword. And then all you have to do is take off the hand, and then you can put the fist hand. So if you want him to have a fist and one sword, or if you want him to just have two fists, right? And then that snaps on, and then there you are. Okay? And all right. So it's my favorite iteration of Optimus, gorilla. I like gorillas. I've worked at a couple of zoos with gorillas, and just always thought that they were really great animals. And so when I saw that they came out with this, they came out with the Masterpiece Edition of Optimus Primal. I had to get this. This was about $135. I almost will never spend. It has to really be special for me to spend, a lot of money on a toy. But this is just so well made. The plastic has this like smooth, kind of chunky feeling to it. It's heavy. You know, it has 3 different faces that you can change. When he's in robot mode, he basically looks like a more refined version of this one. It's just really great. It is worth the money, and I think actually it's pretty much doubled in price since it came out. So I'm really happy that I got that. You know, I'll always take care of that guy. And there's a way that sometimes these toys are remade by what's called a third party. So a third party will take an idea and maybe they'll give it a different name. I think they always have to give it a different name, actually. And but it's based on a toy you already know. So I bought a third party Optimus Primal, and it's hard to decide what's my favorite between the Masterpiece Edition and this guy. But this is robot mode, and it's just fantastic. And the hands grip around the sword can become, you can lock these two together into one long spear. You know, it's excellent. Gorilla mode, actually, it has this way that you can fold the legs in and make the legs shorter, and you can unfold the arms and make the arms longer to mimic the proportions of a gorilla more accurately, because gorillas have shorter legs and longer arms in proportion to their body than humans do. When he's in robot form, he has more human proportions. So that's that guy. It's just really, really cool. So if you ever want to look up like third-party Transformers, if you're into Transformers, look up third-party and you can see some really neat things that people have built instead. We're almost done, but you know, we talked about King Kong last time, and I didn't want to neglect one more giant gorilla that we can talk about, and that is from the movie Rampage. So, George from Rampage, okay? And it comes with Dwayne Johnson, and there you are, big giant George. What's cool about this one is it does have hip joints, and you can actually stand him in a gorilla knuckle pose. So he can stand up, or you can put him in that knuckle pose. Now, I bought another one first, and I said, you know what? Well, they went clearance. They went down, I think, like $15, and I'm like, all right, I might as well buy another one. So I took the one that I opened, and I repainted it. And I painted him in black and red. And I didn't paint the hands and feet and some of the joints because the paint will rub off. And, you know, on the hands and feet, you know, if I use it somewhere, I didn't want the paint to rub off. But I think he looks really great, especially his head. He looks like King Kong. It just looks fantastic. And what it reminds me of, though, is in the Dragon Ball cartoon, the Saiyans, which are the heroes, which are Vegeta and Goku, they, in a full moon, can transform into a giant gorilla. And they're super, super powerful, and this kind of reminded me of that. And then actually, I think it was last year, they came out with the giant gorilla toy of Dragon Ball, and that was also, I believe, $180, and I didn't buy that. But, you know, you can look that up and find that. And they also made Little George, this guy here. So, I have Little George, and Little George has an action, he does that. So, you know, he doesn't have a lot of motion. His mouth can open and close, and I think that was like, you know, $6, something like that. So that's what we have today. Everybody have a comment? I'd like to know, you know, Metroplex, this is really a lot about Transformers today. It is your birthday. Do you have anything that you'd like to add? He's getting ready to blow something up. Speed Racer, what do you have to say? Now he wants to get out of here. All right. Vader, do you have any thoughts? Did you like our show on the Optimus Primals. All right, you have this. All right, you have the sword. All right, lights up. All right, but how about you have any words of wisdom for us? Yes, the circle. Well, the circle is complete on Optimus Primal up to Transmetal, but it goes further, and it goes all the way up to Optimal Optimus, and there's a couple versions of that, and we will go over that someday too. I will show you the other several models of that we have. Yoda, can we understand you today? All right. I'm in control. I gotta control. I try to control how much I talk. What go? All right. Jeez. All right, Optimus. You're still here.
Megatron must be stopped.
He must be stopped. But today, what we talked about your cousin Optimus Primal. Anything about that? Instead of stopping Megatron or rolling out or transforming.
All we need is a little energon and a lot of luck.
Well, it's interesting you say that because actually the battle on Earth, old Earth, okay, during the Beast Wars, actually, no, I'm sorry, I think it's way in the future. They actually were fighting over Energon. So anyway, good point you have there. And Hulk, any last words? No, we don't like you when you're angry, and that line comes from the I think it was 76 Hulk TV show with Lou Ferrigno and Bill Bixby. And Robbie?
For your convenience, I am monitored to respond to the name Robbie.
Yes, that's why I called you Robbie. Right there. You see what I did there? All right, and we have Godzilla 1998, Godzilla puppet. Did you like everything? Yeah? Okay, good. And do you have a favorite? No, okay, no favorite. You just like them all equally? Okay, well, good. Well, that really doesn't give us much to talk about, but I'm really glad that you like them all. Good for you. And you know what we got to do? We got to ask because we don't want to leave anybody out here. Goldberg. Yeah, did you like today's show? Well, I think our special guest, Wanda Spider, I think that you like the show. Is that right? Well, it looks like she's really up in the air on the whole thing. She's got all her hands up in the air, so not sure, but we were happy to have you here today. You're an excellent guest, because you were quiet. And Goldberg?